What's up, guys and gals? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my weekly Q&A session where you guys ask the questions and I give you the answers. If you would like to submit a question to the Q&A, you have a few ways of doing it. You can ask it in the comment section below, you can ask it on my Twitter feed, or if you are a patron donor, you can ask it in the VIP Discord. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Our first question of the week comes from Alejandro Sosa, my man. And Alejandro Sosa asked, Q&A, do you think Halo should go for the different outcomes campaign in the future, using a choice system in the style of games like Black Ops or Wolfenstein? Would totally watch a Mass Effect walkthrough, by the way. Good to know. So, this is an idea that I've actually been pitching for quite some time for Halo 6. I would love to see a branching out of the campaign, so rather than having like a straightforward linear campaign, you actually have choices you can make along the way about what missions you take. Kind of almost like a Star Fox 64 type setup. In terms of different endings, I think that would be a plus too, because if you're someone who is very picky about the story, it would allow you to choose an outcome that best suits you. This is an old concept for games, so it's not something that I can see Halo 6 skipping out on necessarily. I know Halo really doesn't have a history of alternate endings unless they have like the weird legendary endings like in Halo Combat Evolved, but even then, the endings, aside from that one, are typically considered canon. So I would love to have an option to have endings and just campaign experiences alone more customizable. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Our next question comes from YouTube Shitscanner. And YouTube Shitscanner asks, Q&A, Tyrant, for the next major Halo game, instead of having sprint and Spartan abilities be a normal feature, should 343 do what Halo 3 did and have them as power-ups scattered around the map in multiplayer and campaign, or just take them out of the game completely? So I'll touch on this a little bit more, but for Halo 5, keep in mind that, you know, we had the enhanced mobilities, and I believe that should be the case in Halo 6. I know that may not be the most popular opinion, but because Halo 6 is going to be a direct continuation of Halo 5, I believe the gameplay should be similar, much like Halo 2 and Halo 3. Even though Halo 3 added, you know, the equipment, like you mentioned, it still played basically the same way. Yeah, there were a few tweaks in physics and whatnot, and as well as the enemies, but for the most part, if you were good at Halo 2, then you were probably fine with Halo 3. I think with Halo 5 going into Halo 6, if they all of a sudden just nix Spartan abilities altogether, some of those newer players who joined around the time of maybe Halo Reach or Halo 4 will be taken a little bit off guard there. So I think that having a game centered around the classic movement system should be something they explore in the future, but not with Halo 6. So I hope that answers your question, my friend, and thank you for stopping by. Our next question comes from Arc48, and Arc48 asked, if you were in Bonnie Ross's position, what direction would you take Halo to steer it back on track? Poor Bonnie. Well, you know, there are a couple of things. First of all, I do believe that after the Reclaimer saga, they should have an official release for Halo Online, even if it's something that's produced by 343 Industries and not by El Dorito. We saw how popular that was when it was released. Clearly people want a game like that. I think that if they have a free-to-play multiplayer game like Halo Online that's available for PC and features Halo 3-esque gameplay, that would bring a lot of people to the franchise that otherwise may not have even tried Halo, especially for the fact that it would be on PC and for free, and featuring arguably the most famous multiplayer experience that Halo has ever had. So I think that's a direction they should consider going in the future. Also for future installments, I don't want to see them rely so heavily on outside material, because we've seen a lot of that in the last couple of Halo games. And not everyone buys all the books, not everyone reads all the comics, not everyone watches all the films. And so I think they should just keep the story to the games, have little Easter eggs in there for people who do read the books and so forth, but not rely so much on the outside material. So I hope that answers your question, my friend. Our next question comes from Chan So. And Chanso asks, Q&A, Mythic Tyrant, would you be doing a Halo Wars 2 Awaken the Nightmare Legendary walkthrough? Why or why not? I think I may have answered this last week, but in case my mind is playing tricks on me, the short answer is I'm planning on doing a Legendary walkthrough for both Operation Spearbreaker and Awakening the Nightmare. I don't know when. I am planning on trying to do this by the end of the year, but it's not a priority for me right now. I've got other projects on the table that are going to be coming before that. So hopefully by the end of the year, so keep an eye out for it, and I hope you enjoy the walkthrough. Our next question comes from Prophet Arbiter, and Prophet Arbiter asks, Q&A, Tyrant, since 343 is just getting around to updating the Master Chief Collection, should they also finish the 360 version of Halo 1 Anniversary by adding classic sound effects and custom games, and if they did, would you play it again? I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong here, I'm sure someone will answer in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure that you can already toggle classic sound effects versus Anniversary. I know you can do that with the soundtrack. I'm not entirely sure, since it's been a long time since I've loaded up just the base Halo Anniversary instead of just the Master Chief Collection. To answer your question, though, no. I honestly believe that any sort of updates they do should be for the Master Chief Collection so that they don't further divide the fan base. And if they're going to put all that effort in the Master Chief Collection, I don't really see why they would go back and put so much effort into a 7-year-old title. I know that they recently made it backwards compatible for Xbox One, but again, I think that they should focus on the Xbox, on Halo, or the Master Chief Collection, instead of working backwards, if that makes sense. They're already kind of working backwards with Master Chief Collection, but I'd still rather them focus on that than an even older game. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Our next question comes from Nebulous Cheetah. And Nebulous Cheetah asks, Q&A, it seems recently that so many popular games have been PS4 exclusive. Examples, God of War, Detroit Become Human, Horizon Zero Dawn, etc. I recently built my PC back in October, and it makes me mad that all these great PS4 exclusives have come out and I don't have a PlayStation 4. Do you think that the gaming industry should do away with console exclusives and release games on every platform? So as a consumer, I can say absolutely, I would love that. Who wouldn't? There are tons of games that are currently PlayStation exclusives that I would love to be able to play on my Xbox or PC. For example, as you mentioned, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus. There's a lot of stuff out there that it would be a lot of fun, but then you start getting it. Here's the problem with that. Obviously, as a consumer, it would benefit us, but how does that benefit the manufacturer? How does that benefit Microsoft? Yeah, sure, it means that they have more games on their platform, but if that was the case, why would you choose Xbox over PlayStation? Now, it's been a while since I've kept up with PlayStation. The last PlayStation I owned was PS1. Yeah, it's that old. So in terms of the consoles, I know that Xbox is more of a multimedia console. I'm not sure what PlayStation's current interface is. So it would be really tough for me to fully judge how one console is better than the other. Some people say that PlayStation has better graphics than Xbox One X. Some people say the Xbox One X has better graphics. I think at some point it's a matter of opinion. I've seen the graphics side by side. They do look different, but in terms of what's better, I think that comes down to personal opinion. I don't know if there would be a benefit to the manufacturer, but as a consumer, I would say absolutely. I'd love to see that, or at the very least, see games also released on the PC in addition to their console counterparts. So I hope that answers your question, my friend, and always good to see you here. And our final question of the week, our star question, comes from Gospel Ghost. Man, this is like the third time you ask great questions, my friend. And Gospel Ghost asks, Q&A, Tyrant, do you think they should have a classic playlist in Halo 6? And if so, do you think they should have remastered versions of some of the most popular maps in each of the main Halo games in that playlist, and maybe some of the new ones? Absolutely. So one of the things I've been pitching, I know this has been a very divisive issue within the Halo community, classic movement system versus the modern one. And one of the things that I've mentioned that I believe Halo 6 needs to have in order to be even remotely successful at this point is a dedicated classic playlist to go alongside the main playlist of the game. And what I would picture a classic playlist like that having would be Free-for-All, Team Slayer, Objective, SWAT, and Big Team Battle. I think all those would be necessary to make that work. There are a lot of people out there who love that classic gameplay, and if Halo Online showed us anything, it was exactly that. A lot of people crave that classic gameplay. There are a lot of legacy players out there that are just dangling by a thread right now with the current state of the franchise, and going back in that direction, I feel like would appease a lot of those players. Having said that, and this is where it's going to, my opinion may not be as popular. It's what I mentioned earlier. I don't think that Halo 6 should be centered around the classic movement system because of the fact that Halo 5 was not, and suddenly changing the core system so much would be sort of a jarring effect. I do think that going forward, once the Reclaimer saga is done with, they should have an official release of Halo Online with classic gameplay, and possibly an option to have enhanced mobilities out there as well, just to make everybody happy. But I do think that Halo Online should be a thing. You know, it's interesting whenever I hear this, because there are people out there who think that I'm a sellout because I defend Halo 5's movement system. And I can tell you this, I wish I was being paid by Microsoft, because I wouldn't have to pitch my Patreon page all the time, which, by the way, link in the description below. But the thing of it is, it's interesting because I think people have a hard time, some people, not everybody, but some people have a hard time grasping the concept that it's possible to like two different things. I enjoy the classic movement system as well as the new system for different reasons. It's kind of like when I have a snack. Sometimes I'll have chips, other times I'll have carrots and blue cheese. Both are drastically different, but both taste different as well, and both different tastes are things that I enjoy. Just sometimes I'm in the mood for one thing or the other. Just because I have carrots with blue cheese one day doesn't mean that I hate chips. Just because I have chips one day doesn't mean I hate carrots and blue cheese. When it comes to the gaming universe, we have a lot of Halo fans that are also Call of Duty fans. For some people, that's sacrilegious. But in my opinion, you can like two different franchises. Personally, as much as I love Halo, I also really enjoy Titanfall. So I believe that it's entirely possible to like both playstyles equally for different reasons. Sometimes I'm in the mood for playing classic Halo, and I love Halo 3 Griffball. That's still my favorite type of Griffball. I also like Halo 3's version of Living Dead. When it comes to Halo 5, sometimes I just like that enhanced mobility. I like playing Warzone Firefight. I like being able to ground pound. I like being able to clamor. You know, so it just depends on the mood that I'm in. I like both. I think both are very well done. I think Halo 5's gameplay overall, at least in terms of multiplayer, is very smooth. It's very fluid. It feels great with 60 frames per second. It's just, does it feel like Halo? The answer is no. It doesn't feel like Halo in the way that I grew up with it. But it's still a gaming experience that I personally enjoy. I still like it better than armor abilities. And so for me, it's just a different way of playing Halo. But going forward, I can see a better outcome of the next major Halo title being essentially having both gameplay styles available. I think a classic playlist is going to be essential for the next major Halo installment, especially after Microsoft more or less took away Halo Online. We already saw from that just how popular a classic playlist would be, and I think that would bring a lot of old Halo fans back to the series. So it's going to be important. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. My hope is that, you know, they've hinted that there's going to be more classic Halo experiences coming in the future. I hope they plan on incorporating that into Halo 6 so that we have both available, so it brings both sides of the community together, and both sides of the community can enjoy the next major Halo installment and hopefully the conclusion of the Reclaimer saga. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. What do you think about a classic playlist? Do you want it in the next major Halo title? Are you okay with sharing the Halo title with the new enhanced movement ability system? And what would you want in the classic playlist? What types of things do you want sub-playlists within the classic playlist, like I mentioned before? Do you think it should be set up more like the Master Chief Collection? What do you personally want out of a classic playlist, if you want a classic playlist at all? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, or please feel free to hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. A link to my Twitter feed can be found in the description below. And I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you consider subscribing for more great content right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I'll catch you all right back here next time, and as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.